What is going on, everyone? It's Justin here, aka JSpit Trades, back with another video. I hope you guys had a nice trading day today. I know we had some big moves in names like Tesla and Reddit. I didn't catch either of those, but I caught Iris Energy, which closed the day up 14%. So lots of really exciting moves out there today, lots of action, despite this being a short week, a holiday week. But going forward, there's one group within the market that really has my attention, and it's an area that I really want to focus on going forward, and that is once again semis. And I know with everything going on in the market, people are kind of taking their eyes off semis. That's because we've had nice moves in names like Tesla, which I just mentioned. Amazon has done really well, and we've seen a rotation into software stocks. And so I think a lot of people have just taken their eyes off semis, and I get it, because when you look at Nvidia, the biggest, most important semiconductor name, you can see it printed this bearish engulfing pattern a few days ago. And then the last few sessions, it's just really traded sideways. And when you look at Nvidia's chart on its own, this doesn't look great. This sort of looks like a bear flag. We're below the 21-day EMA. We're below the 10-day EMA. And both of them are starting to roll over. So when I look at Nvidia on its own, it doesn't look great. But I almost think this is a trap, because when you look beyond Nvidia and you look at the other names in the group, they're all setting up really well. And despite the price action, the chart we have of Nvidia right now, which doesn't look great, Nvidia is still the top dog within the semi. So I'm a little finding this price action to be a little suspect right now. But still, that doesn't mean you should go out and just buy Nvidia just because it's Nvidia right now. And because I said that, you still want to wait for this chart to set up. But I think that could happen going forward because of the strength we're seeing across the industry group. So let's take a look at that. Okay, SMH. This is the Semiconductor ETF that most people follow. You either look at this or you look at stocks. And you can see here we had this big run up, and we put in that bearish engulfing candle similar to Nvidia, and that was driven in large part by Nvidia's big weight in the ETF. But the past few days, we've done the same thing. We've just really traded sideways, consolidated. You can make an argument this is a bear flag, but we had a strong reaction today, so we closed the day up 1%. And we reclaimed the 10-day moving average, and we're back above the 21-day EMA, which was acted as support. So the primary trend for SMH is still higher. So I think this could resolve higher, despite the fact that this, if you were to look at this a day or two ago, you might have thought this was about to roll over. We could get a deeper pullback in semis. I'm not so sure of that anymore. Another reason I'm leaning bullish on semis here is when we look at XSD, so this is the equal weight semiconductor ETF. The last one we looked at is market cap weight, which gives a lot more weight to a name like Nvidia and some of the bear boys, Micron, which is pulled back and sort of dragged down that ETF. But when we look at XSD, the equal weight semiconductor ETF, it looks really great. So it's we recently came out and hit new all-time highs, but we pulled back. And have just been consolidating right around the level that goes back to those prior cycle highs. So we've broken out to new highs. We had our highest monthly close ever in June, and now we're just consolidating. We've had several weeks at this level, just sort of sitting here. And what we've done during that time is just waited for the 10-week moving average to catch up to it, and now it's acting as support. And we had some really impressive strength today. So I like what I'm seeing from the equal weight semiconductor ETF. And then when you look at a lot of individual names, there's a lot of names that are setting up really nicely. So I'm just going to share a few of my favorite names within the group right now. Let's start with Lam Research. This isn't in any particular order. I just started with Lam Research, and then we got KLAC and AMT. And I started off with those names because they all really kind of trade very similarly and have sort of the same setup going on. So we look at Lam Research. This is one of my favorite setups within the entire semi space right now, just because it's so clean and it's so easy to manage a risk on a setup like this. You can see we have this consolidation pattern. We got pretty tight, ultimately broke out of that, and then had a nice little run, and then we just consolidated for several days within here, and we closed today up 1.15%, and we're back above the 10-day moving average. You slap the 21-day EMA, that hasn't come up yet, so maybe we have a few more days of just sideways trading within here, maybe an inside day tomorrow. It says it's a short day, and then we'll see how this all pans out. But Lam Research is looking really good. I also really like what I'm seeing from KLAC, KLAC. As you can see, this is pretty similar where it had that multi-month consolidation pattern, more or less, and then just had a breakout. And then the past few sessions, we've just been trading sideways, more or less. We pulled back into the rising 21-day EMA, bounced off that, and then closed today up 1.4%. And now we're back above the 10-day moving average. So this may need a little bit more time, but I also think, if you were to get involved right here, I think this is a good entry point. This is one of the stronger leading names within the semi space that doesn't get talked about as much as your Nvidias, your Microns, your Broadcoms, but really strong name regardless. Applied Materials. This one looks very similar to Lam Research, where you just, sort of had this basing pattern. We were kind of chopping around here, but more or less traded sideways for this period. Then we had the breakout, and then we pulled back, tested this trend line that dates back to March, bounced off that. We also had some support from the rising 21-day EMA, and today we closed up 1.5%, and we're back above the 10-day moving average. So I think Applied Materials looks really good here. Onto Innovation, a smaller semi name that doesn't get talked about as much, but it's been a very strong name regardless. And sort of the theme that we keep touching on these videos, where we had this big run up, then we had a pullback, and then we had some consolidation, and now we're just printing a bull flag here, in my opinion. So Onto Innovation looked really good. It closed today at 2.3%. We're back above those short-term MAs that I like to use. We got Nova, another strong, smaller semi name. Looks really good. Had this big run up out of this base here, and then we pulled back into the rising 21-day EMA, caught that, bounced off that, and then today we closed up 1.2%, and we're back above the 10-day. So you could see the reoccurring theme is you have the advancement, the rally, the pullback into support, which was often a 20-day moving average, or in my case, the one I like to use is the 21-day EMA. So you pull back into that got tagged, acted as support, bounce off that, and then set up, and then reclaim the 10-day moving average. So, it looks really good. ARM Holdings, another very strong semi name. You can see the big run up this had after breaking out of this, wedge pattern that it had. Had a nice run up, very explosive, volatile name. And then we pulled back, and now it looks like we're just painting a bear flag above those February highs. So this looks really good. Closed the day up 2.9%, and I think this one's looking good to go in the coming days. We'll see if it happens this week with the the shorter, low volume week, but I think it looks like it could go. I don't know if it's going to care or wait until next week to get moving. So ARM Holdings looks really solid, and then ASML, looks really good in my opinion. I'm going to zoom out to the weekly so you can see how this name looks. So you can see, we broke out of this massive base that we were in, came back down, retested it, bounced off that, and now we're just sort of putting in a little base up here. I'm going to drop this line here so you can see exactly what I mean. But yeah, so we just it looks like we're just flipping this level into support, and then we closed the day up 1.4%. We're back above the 10-day moving average. After that, rising 21-day EMA acted as support. So, really seeing the same sort of patterns, same sort of setup taking place throughout the semi market. TSM, Taiwan Semiconductor, getting tight within a flag, closed up 2%, or about 1.96% to be more precise. And we reclaimed the 10-day moving average, and this one's getting tight. Looks like it's ready to go. I'll say about TSM. What I said about a lot of the other names in this video is that this looks like it's ready to go. Maybe we get an inside day, maybe we get a little pullback, but if it does, I think that's be a gift, and that would be a definitely buy-in opportunity, because you're not just seeing this setup play out in one or two stocks. You're seeing constructive setups playing throughout the group. and a lot of the leaders too. So, take your pick, whichever name is your style or is your favorite, or a name you've been wanting to get in for a while. I think there's a lot of constructive action out there right now. And then AMD has been a laggard within the group, and just hasn't participated to the same level that a lot of other semi names have. And so this is a name that I haven't really traded so much lately, and that's probably been a good thing. But it's starting to get my attention because today we closed up 4.2%. We're back above the 10-day and 21-day EMA, and it just sort of basing at this level. And if you zoom out to the weekly, you can see why this is so important. So it kind of looks like ASML, where we had this, cup and handle pattern, whatever you want to call it, broke out to new all-time highs, had a big run up, and then pulled back, and then we pull back into this level here, which has acted as support. And then the past 2 weeks, we closed green, and then we're working on our third consecutive green week in a row. So this is looking really constructive, and I think AMD has the potential to play catch up in a serious way. And the time might just be right for this one to make a move, because this is a name that a lot of traders have tried to get involved with in the past few weeks or even months. It's just a name that gets a lot of attention on FinTwit and among retail traders. And it just hasn't been quite ready to go, but it's looking more and more ready, in my opinion. So AMD, definitely a name to keep an eye on. And then the last name I'm going to share with you guys today would be FormFactor. So if you watched my last video, which was on small caps, this was a name I shared. It's I want to say about a $4 or $5 billion semiconductor stock. And the reason I like this is just how it looks on higher time frames. So this is a monthly chart here, and you can see it recently broke out to a base that dates back all the way to 2006. So that's no joke. That's an 18-year base. And then when you drill down to the weekly, you can see this smaller, more recent base that it had. We broke out of that, came back down, retested it, and then the past few weeks we've closed green, and we have that rising 10-week moving average coming up to act as support. So form factor looking really good, but yeah, there's a lot of names to choose from, a lot of constructive setups within the semi space. So this is definitely a top area of focus for me going forward for the rest of this week and beyond, because this has been the strongest industry group this entire bull market, and we're not seeing any evidence that that's changing yet, despite the fact that software is starting to participate a little bit more. So nice to see semis getting back on track, and we'll have to see what Nvidia does. But I think Nvidia might be a little bear trap potentially, where it's trying to paint a picture where it's not looking as constructive and looks like it's about to roll over. But if you drill down on Nvidia, I'll use the 65-minute when I'm looking intraday, you can see it's just been trading quite tight the past few sessions. So in my opinion, this could break either way. I don't really care that it's got the short-term moving averages rolling over, because this has been the leader within semis, and now you have all the other semis that are looking like they're going to set up. And I don't think anything's changed with Nvidia in the past few sessions. I still think this is the leader you want to own. So definitely a name to keep an eye on. But the other setups are a little bit more constructive and maybe lower risk as far as technicals go. So that's it for today's video. I hope you guys found it informative, and I will see you in the next one.